All right, let's just dive right in. Picture this. You've had an absolutely stellar year at work. I mean, you've knocked it out of the park. And now, it's time for that conversation, the one with your boss about your salary. You know that feeling, right? That conversation so many of us dread. But it doesn't have to be that way. Today, we're going to break down how you can turn that high-stakes moment into a win, using facts, staying professional, and using a tool you might not even be thinking about, the law.
First up, let's really set the stage here. To get why the conversation that's coming is so important, you have to understand just how incredible this employee's year was. We're not talking about someone who just, met their goals. We're talking about someone who completely shattered expectations. And listen, this isn't just a case of feeling like you deserve a raise. This is about cold, hard, documented proof of success.
And just look at this list. It's incredible. We're talking five authorized invention patents, 2 major industry awards that brought prestige to the company, and 3 big projects that this person handled completely on their own, from the first design sketch all the way to deployment. And on top of all that, they were named an innovative great craftsman. That's a huge deal, something only given to 10 people in all of Beijing that year. The value this person brings is just undeniable.
So you've got this mountain of evidence showing how valuable you are. The question is, what's that actually worth? How do you even begin to put a number on that and turn it into a real conversation about compensation?
Okay, so with a track record like that, you think the next step would be pretty straightforward, right? Well, this is where our story takes a sharp turn. The employee goes into that meeting armed with a year's worth of amazing results, totally ready to talk about the raise they were promised. But this is where their incredible value ran smack into a brick wall of corporate reality.
So the employee lays out their case, even mentions the previous agreement, and the boss's response? It's the classic sidestep, right? Well, your base salary is, pretty rigid. But hey, we can look at your bonuses and maybe a little something for those patents. It's a total deflection, trying to shift the conversation from a stable, guaranteed income increase to one-time payments that can disappear next year.
And this is where you see the real human cost of all this. The employee has to explain that after paying for taxes, their mortgage, rent, and helping their family, they are left with less than 1,500 RMB. That's about $200 to live on for a month. I mean, wow, this isn't about getting ahead anymore. This is about barely staying afloat.
But as they kept talking, something else came out, a much bigger issue. And here's the twist. The real reason for this financial squeeze wasn't just a low salary. Oh no, it was something else the company was doing. Something that wasn't just a little unfair. It was straight up illegal.
So what was this illegal practice? It all came down to the housing fund. Because the company wasn't calculating their payments correctly, this employee was being forced to come up with an extra 3,000 RMB out of their own pocket for their mortgage every single month. This wasn't some negotiation strategy from the company. This was a hole in the employee's finances, a leak that was being caused by the company breaking the law.
And this right here is the absolute game changer for this entire story. The second our employee realized this wasn't a, please sir, can I have some more situation, but a, you are legally required to do this situation, everything changed. The whole power dynamic just flips on its head. When you know your rights, you stop asking and you start demanding what you're legally owed.
So what is this law? Let's do a quick breakdown. In China, this Housing Provident Fund is a mandatory social security benefit. And here's the key part. The law says that both the company's and the employee's contributions have to be based on the employee's actual average monthly salary from the year before. There's no wiggle room here. It's not a suggestion. The law is super clear on how this has to be calculated.
So you see the problem, right? It's black and white. The law explicitly says contributions must be based on the real average salary. But what was the company doing? They were using some other much lower number. And by doing that, they were shortchanging the employee every single month. Again, this isn't hardball negotiation. This is just not legal.
Okay, so knowing your rights is one thing. It's like having a shield. But how do you actually use it? You still need a sword. It's time to take that knowledge and build a case that is so strong, so logical, that they just can't ignore it. Here's how you build that rock-solid case. You start with the facts, your achievements, your value. Then you anchor your main point in the law. The housing fund isn't a favor you're asking for. It's their legal duty. Then you propose a clear solution. Correct the fund based on your actual salary, just like the law says. And the whole time, you stay cool, calm, and professional. You keep bringing it back to 2 things. Here's the real-world financial pressure I'm under,
and here's your legal requirement to fix it.
All right, that all sounds great in theory, but what do you actually do? If you find yourself in a spot like this, you need a plan. So here it is, a super clear, 4-step action plan to take back control and protect your rights.
First things first, document everything. I'm serious. Emails are your best friend here. Create that paper trail. Step 2, gather your proof. Pay stubs, your contract, official records, all of it. Step 3, know your bottom line. Before you go into that final talk, decide what the absolute minimum you'll accept is. And finally, step 4, and this is crucial, be ready to escalate. Know who to call, the Housing Fund Center, labor arbitration, because when they see you have a plan B, they know you're not messing around.
So look, when you boil it all down, it really comes down to just 2 super simple truths. 1, your value to the company isn't up for debate, you've already proven it with results. And 2, your rights aren't a suggestion, they are clearly protected by the law.
Those 2 things, your proven value and your clear legal rights, that's an incredibly strong foundation to stand on. So the real question isn't about what you're worth or what the law says. We've established all that. The only question that's left is for you. Are you ready to stand on that foundation and confidently ask for what you have already earned?